Okay, very good.
All right. Number 6. Climbing past 10,000 feet, you set your altimeter to 29.92. At indicated level flight, true altitude changes will, I said Bravo, decrease with a decrease in pressure.
Okay, good job.
For number 7, changing the altimeter to 30.05 from 29.90 is what apparent change in elevation or altitude? I said Charlie, decrease of 1,500 feet.
1,500 feet?
I did not remember that conversion.
I would go with alpha.
I would
go with alpha.
Alpha, okay. I knew it was a decrease.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8. What is VS1 on an on an airspeed indicator? I said alpha, the maximum speed with flaps extended.
And that was what number?
8.
Number 8. And your answer again?
Alpha.
Alpha. Maximum flaps extended speed. Maximum flaps extended speed will be V Foxtrot Echo. So V sub FE would be your maximum flaps extended. So it would look like V, and you see a small F and an E. That's your maximum flaps extended speed. All right.
Okay.
VS1 is your minimum steady flight speed and stalling speed at the bottom of the green. So that's your clean configuration. And your airspeed indicator at the bottom of the green arc, which would come kind of like this, and then you'd have your white arc. All right, so the bottom of the white arc is your VSO, and the bottom of your green will be your VS1. So that's how you just remember. If you're down here, that means you are dirty. Your flaps are out, and your gear's down. If you have retractable gear, you're in the dirty configuration, and you would stall at a slower airspeed, as opposed to VS1 when you're in a clean configuration, which means your flaps are retracted, your gear is up, and VS1. So know that. Just put your V speeds in kind of like a hierarchy. You're going to hit VSO first before you stall clean. You'll be slower, and this will be a landing configuration.
Right. So your speed will move clockwise.
Your airspeed indicator 0 will be up here, and when you start to take off, your airspeed will come up. So let's say your VSO will be, I don't know, let's say 55 knots. KIAS means knots indicated airspeed. And let's just say your clean configuration will be 65 knots indicated airspeed. Okay. So you can fly 10 knots slower, and I'm just kind of exaggerating a little slightly, but your VSO, I think of it flaps out, gear out. That's what I think that. Oh, VSO is really a 0, but VSO. VS1 is when your flaps are retracted. Because when you're in flight training, you're going to do 2 types of stalls. You're going to do approach to landing stall, which would be the lower speed, 55 knots, and then you'd have your departure stall, where if your speed slowed down to 65, that would be your stall speed. And what is a stall? What is a stall?
It's when you exceed the critical angle of attack.
Very good. Very good.
Airfoil can no longer generate lift.
Nope. Exceeding the critical angle of attack. Keep it simple. Don't throw all that stuff out there. Exceeding the critical angle of attack. Because what you may or may not know is, like, let's say we're at 50 knots, right? In order to maintain level flight, my nose might have to be slightly up like this, right? To get the angle of attack to generate the lift to keep me at a certain altitude. As I get faster, I can pitch down to maintain that same altitude, because the faster the airspeed flowing over the airfoils or the wings, the more lift the wings generate, right?
Right.
So when you're kind of like in this low speed regime, you're gonna be bumping a whole lot of power, and your nose is gonna be up fighting to maintain altitude. It's gonna be right above the stall horn. It's gonna be like that. Like, hey, I'm about to stall, buddy. You're slow, you're slow. And that's why we teach that with our students, as opposed to, and that might happen at 55 knots. Again, these are not published speeds. I'm just letting you know it's slower than the clean configuration. Because you got your flaps out. What do flaps help us do? Generate more lift, right?
Right.
That's why we can fly at 55 knots. But when we retract the flaps, we don't have that lift. So we're going to stall at a higher airspeed.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's the difference between VSO and VS0 and VS1.
All right. And I scratched down that little drawing we have.
And the bottom of the green arc is where VS1 happens. The
Right.
bottom of the white arc is where VS0 happens. And if you got that, we'll move on to the next question, my friend.
All right. To get back to that. So that would be number 9. What is the approximate distance from 40 degrees north, 65 degrees, 30.5 minutes west, and 41 degrees?
I doubt you would see a question like that. I should have taken that out.
I definitely was not. This was a guess.
Yeah. But number 10, the answer is Echo. Oh no, that was 9. Sorry, 9 is
9. It would have been Echo.
Charlie.
Okay, I would have been wrong.
All right.
So the next one I have is number 12.
That is correct.
What are the parameters for Class Delta airspace? And I said, Bravo surfaced to 2,500 feet above the airport and has an operational control tower.
Very good. Now, most Class Deltas are not in operation 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like 10, 11 o'clock, they shut down. All right.
Right. Class Deltas are normally like private, like smaller private airports, right?
I wouldn't say private. They're public use, like the ones I thought out of. It's public use.
Okay.
But
I know it's like the smallest class of airports.
Typically, you'll see it'll be a blue line, and you'll have like a little thing like this that tells you the top of it. You add 2 zeros, 2,500 feet. All right, but then when the tower shuts down, it becomes Class E airspace.
Right. And Class Echo is like unrestricted airspace, right?
No, Class Echo is uncontrolled. Is controlled airspace.
That's Gamma is unrestricted. Echo is controlled, but not other class.
And it's controlled because we have cloud clearances and visibilities, if I can pronounce my words, to adhere to.
Okay.
And we'll move on.
All right, that is number 13. What is the maximum indicated airspeed below 10,000 feet MSL within a Class Bravo airspace? I said Charlie, 300 knots.
No, it is 250 knots.
Okay.
250 knots is the. I typically, as a rule of thumb, I would not fly faster than 250 knots. Below 10,000 feet.
Just in any airspace?
Me and sea level. I just keep it in. It is a speed limit, but I keep it around 250, and like in a climb out, and then as I approach when I get above 10,000 feet, that's when I start pitching for a faster airspeed.
Gotcha. All right. Number 14. While taxiing, you see a flashing white light from the control tower. What does it mean? I said that is Delta return to start.
And what question number was that?
14.
Good job.
All right. Number 15. I did not remember this, I guessed. What is the scale of VFR sectional charts? I guessed 1 to 250,000.
Well, what's that mean to you?
So this is what the ratio is for the scale when you're looking at the map for when you're in VFR rules. I remember reading about this in the FAA handbook, but I did not retain much of it.
Okay. I'm going to send you an image of every aeronautical chart will have its scale. All right. And I want you, when you see the image, I want you to tell me what you see.
Oh, I see the scale is 1 to 500,000.
Mm-hmm. 1 inch is equal to 500,000 inches, which means if I took a ruler and I measured 1 inch, that represents 500,000 inches in real life. So it's the scale that the map is set at.
Right. All right. 16. The outer walls of a ship are called the, I say, Charlie hull.
Outer walls of a ship, and you said hull?
Yeah.
For 1.6, and that will be correct, sir.
Awesome. Number 17. A ship's windlass is designed primarily for, I say, Charlie, handling anchor chain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to go to the Intrepid not too long ago, and they have the anchor room open for public. Those are some big chains.
Yeah, man. It's a big ship
I
to
guess
slow
you have to
down.
stop a big ship.
That's a lot of ship to slow down, brother.
All right. 18. A nautical mile is approximately, I said, Bravo, 6,076 feet.
What about a statute mile?
5,280 feet.
Mm-hmm. So this is like a car mile. A nautical
Right.
mile is a airplane or boat mile. You know, your car runs in miles per hour. Your aircraft and your boat run at kph or knots per hour.
Right.
So is 100 knots faster than 100 miles per hour?
Yes.
Very good. It's actually 115 miles per hour.
Right, because
Yeah. So
1.15.
Mm-hmm. So if you're flying at 100 knots,
a
you're
nautical
flying
mile is 1.15 statute miles.
So if you're flying at 100 knots, you're moving at 115 miles per hour.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That was 18.
1.8.
19. A yellow jersey and yellow helmet means what on a flight deck? I said Bravo, that is catapult and arresting gear crews, or air wing maintenance personnel.
I disagree. I want you to Google shirt deck colors, please. Shirt deck colors. Google that, and I want you to go to yellow and actually keep that, tab that, or whatever you got to do. Save that link, and I want you to tell me what you see for yellow.
Yeah, yellow and green, for whatever reason, I always get mixed up with those two.
Okay, well now you have the reference, so it doesn't happen again. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. Yellow jerseys are aircraft handling officers, catapult and arresting gear officers, as well as plane directors.
Okay, so
green would just be the maintenance, or maintenance would have been a green shirt.
So now that you look at that, what would you change your answer to? Be careful.
Alpha.
Alpha? Read a yellow jersey and a yellow helmet means what on a flight deck? Go to your reference you Google.
I have catapult and arresting gear officer, as well as handling officers and plane directors. So I have that Alpha and Delta would both be correct.
You said as well as who?
According to what I'm looking at.
Hold on, you said as well as who? In your statement you read. Just go back to it. As well
plane
as
directors.
Plane directors. What selection has plane directors?
Delta.
Delta. There you go, buddy.
But wouldn't a yellow shirt also do sometimes being the catapult and arrest. Oh, but it says specifically arresting gear officers. Is that why that's a caveat? They could just be catapult and arresting gear crew.
All right, this might, I don't know, this might be, this section might be a little, but plane directors is definitely what you read. Read slower, read it slower.
The description or the answers?
The description.
So what I'm looking at, yellow jerseys are aircraft handling officers, catapult and arresting gear officers, as well as plane directors.
Wow, so yeah, I need to throw this question out.
So
the key says
Alpha and Delta would have both been correct.
Yeah, kind of, yeah,
most
kind
for
of,
plane
sort
director.
of. Okay, and that's good. So that lets me know what question I need to throw out. All right, but as long as you have the reference, that's what's more important than anything to go by. This test is probably a little bit outdated. All right, let's move forward.
Number 20. Using a 24-hour basis in navigation, 9:05 p.m. would be written as, I said E2105.
Very good, sir.
21. At sea, the time zones are generally bands of longitude. I said Bravo 15 degrees in width.
You would be correct, sir.
22. A ship is at a latitude of 25 degrees north and a longitude of 90 degrees west. It is sailing in the, I said Charlie, Gulf of Mexico.
Gulf of Mexico. Charlie for, what's that, 22?
22.
Good job.
Number 23. A line drawn from a fix in the direction in which the ship is moving is called a, I said Alpha course line.
Course line for 23. Alpha, good job.
So that's actually something I wanted to ask about. What is the difference between a course line and a lubber's line?
A lubber line is the line on a, let's say if you have a compass, right?
Right.
And you got north, south, east, or west and stuff. So when you're looking in here, the line that represents your heading is the lubber line.
Okay, so the lubber line is specifically on the compass.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you Google aircraft compass, aircraft magnetic compass, you might even get, and if you go to images, it might even show you or point an arrow point to the lubber line, but that's the lubber line.
Yep, I do see that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, where was I?
24.
Number 24. In marine navigation, soundings are used to measure, I said alpha, depth of water.
I seem to. What was your answer again? Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, or Delta?
Alpha.
Good job.
$25. As the weight of the load carried by a ship increases, I said Delta, the freeboard would decrease and the draft would increase.
What number was that again, sir?
25.
Good job.
26. Which of the following is not considered to be an aid to navigation? I said Echo, mountain peaks.
Good job.
27. Fog is generally formed when, I said Echo, warmer air moves over colder water.
Very good. And why?
So that's the part that gets me. I've memorized what it is, but not the actual. Again, I need to go what it is, but not the actual. Again, I need to go through that whole weather chapter. I said alpha, green.
What side is that?
Starboard.
Okay. And what's going to be the left side?
Port would be red.
Very good. And what about the tail?
White.
Very good. So, airplanes and boats, same navigation lighting. Right side, starboard, green. Left side of port, red and white. Any
And
reason?
then yellow for special circumstances. I remember seeing that on some of the flashcards I've done.
Yeah. Now, why in the hell would we? Why we put colors? What's that tell us?
So that way, when you can't make out the actual form of a vessel, you can still gather its heading.
Yeah, I can see. They're kind of like it's like an anti-collision thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's continue.
All right. 2.9. An unlighted buoy used to mark the right side of a channel when facing inland is called that is delta, a none buoy.
Mm-hmm.